10 numbers. It's one thing to be oblivious to these numbers in your 20s or 30s. That's understandable. But once you hit your 50s, that carefree grace period is over. But to me, that's what makes being in your 50s so great, because it can be your take charge decade. Now, these numbers can tell you if you are on track in your 50s or if there's work to do. Because all of these numbers, none of them are set in stone. All of them can move up, move down, get better, get worse. Some of them affect your health, some of them affect your money, every one of them affect your future. And at the end, I've got a couple of honorable mentions that were too good to leave out of the list. So let's see where we stand, shall we? Now, the first three numbers are health related, but before I even name them, I want to share something personal first. Now, growing up, everyone on my mom's side of the family, including my mom and all 7 of her brothers and sisters, they all had high blood pressure, every one of them. So I just assumed by the time I turned 50 that I'd be on medication for it as well. But here's a surprise. My blood pressure has always been great. What I didn't expect was that my blood sugar numbers would be at pre-diabetic levels by the time I turned 50, or that my cholesterol would be running so high, because no one in my family, including my sister, has had any trouble with cholesterol. So here's the point. Don't assume you're in the clear because something doesn't run in your family. But also, don't assume that you're doomed to follow your family's path either. The world we live in now, our activity levels, our diets, the environment, the toxins that we're exposed to, all of that is taking precedence over genetics now. So what do we need to do? We need to know our own numbers and not assume that we're just going to follow the course that our parents took. So with that in mind, here are the 3 most important numbers that you need to be aware of in your 50s. And of course, these are just a start. And number 1 is your blood pressure. It's sneaky, it's quiet, and when it starts climbing, normally you don't feel a thing. Uncontrolled blood pressure can damage your heart and your blood vessels. So it's best to catch it early so it can be managed. Number 2 is your fasting blood sugar, or your A1C. You can be feeling normal and still be sitting right on the edge of prediabetes. I know this one personally. If you catch it early, it can be reversed with the foods you eat, the way you move, the way you manage your stress levels. I did several things to drop my A1C numbers, but here are the 2 that worked great for me. Number 1 is I start my meals with protein, never a carb. And number 2 is I try to take a short, brisk walk after most of my meals. Now, there are research studies to back this up, and I'll link those in the description box below. The third important health number you need to know in your 50s is your LDL cholesterol and your triglycerides, which is still part of your cholesterol number. Even if cholesterol has never been an issue in your family, your numbers may still be running high. But here's something interesting. High cholesterol doesn't necessarily mean medications. In my case, even though my LDL cholesterol runs high, my other risk factors are really low. So my doctor just keeps an eye on the numbers, and she feels no need at this time to prescribe any medications for it. Now, what all 3 of these numbers have in common is that they all can be very quiet and symptomless in your body. You can go years, decades, and not know that these numbers have crept up. The only way to know is to have blood work done. So do yourself a favor and know those 3 numbers throughout your 50s. The next 4 numbers are all about money. You've got to know where you stand. These 4 numbers, they give me a snapshot of my financial health. Okay, the first one is your net worth. Now, this number has never been more important than it is in your 50s. It's the big picture of your financial health. To calculate it, add up everything that you own: home equity, retirement accounts, savings accounts, investments, and subtract everything that you owe money on: mortgage, loans, credit card debt, etc. That remaining figure is your net worth. Your goal now is to get that number to grow each month, whether it's by increasing your assets or paying down your debt. Both ways work. The second number you need to know in your 50s is your emergency fund balance. And not only do you need to know your emergency fund balance, but you need to know in your head what is the right emergency fund amount for your situation. An emergency fund for a family of 4 is going to look a lot different than an emergency fund for just a single person like me. And I'll be honest, I never even had an emergency fund until I turned 50. And even today, when things hit, my balance can dip really low. But that's okay. That's what it's there for. First, you need to set up some goals. Start with $1,000. Make that your goal. Then, when you reach that, maybe elevate it to $3,000. That is a good number that covers most emergencies. It's the number that I like for my situation. And then if you want to keep going, people recommend that you have 4 to 6 months of living expenses saved in an emergency fund. Once you're beyond that, you should probably consider investing any extra. But don't ignore an emergency fund. It'll pay the mechanic, the vet, the hospital, the roofer, right when you need it the most. The third number you need to know in your 50s related to money is your total debt. Now, don't hide from this number. It's not shameful. It's empowering to know how much you owe. When you're in the dark, debt has power over you. But when you know the number, you're in control. Now, tracking your net worth will provide this number for you already, but it's good to focus on it on its own. Have a 50s plan to reduce or even eliminate your debt, even your mortgage, if you can. The fourth money number that you need to know is how much are your monthly expenses, which includes your fixed expenses, your wants, your needs. How much, on average, do you spend each month in specific categories? You need to know these numbers. I can't tell you how many times I've heard friends say they had no idea they were spending $400 a month eating out until they started tracking it. Keep an eye on rising costs as well. Now, if I don't pay attention to my auto insurance premiums, they can creep, and all of a sudden, they're $200 more every 6 months than they were when I originally signed up for the coverage. Time to shop for some more quotes. Same with subscriptions. Know what you're paying so they can't slip by unnoticed. Know what your average utility bills should be. If one gets out of whack, you'll know to investigate it, whether it's a water leak or an air conditioner problem. Okay, the final 3 numbers, they're all about retirement. Now, these numbers will shape what your life is going to look like after you stop working, whether you step away voluntarily or out of necessity. But knowing this truth in your 50s will make the difference between thriving and merely surviving. Okay, the first number you need to know is how many more years you have until retirement. Don't just have some vague, I'll wait and see attitude. Pick an age, even if it seems like a long shot, even if it feels impossible. Pick a number that challenges you a little bit. You're not locking yourself into it. You can change it again if you need to later. But I know for me, when I give myself a target, that gives me something concrete to work toward. Okay, the second number is your retirement account balance. And this could be several different accounts. Add it all up. You need to know what your account balances are. Your 50s needs to be your most focused decade ever for retirement planning and saving. Now, this number is different from our net worth that we talked about earlier. This number does not include your house. It doesn't include your gold bars or your vintage coin collection, because we can't fill up our gas tank with home equity. We can't buy groceries with gold coins. This is the number that you'll live on when you're no longer working. And you have to have money invested. You can't just have your entire nest egg in a savings account somewhere. If the market dips, don't panic. Just think of it as buying your future at a discount. Everything's on sale. Just stay steady. This is our final stretch, and it matters more than ever right now. So the third number you need to know related to retirement is your Social Security benefit amount. By the time you turn 50, it's time to set up your free Social Security account on ssa.gov. Once you do that, you can get on there and see how much your benefit will be at 62, how much your benefit will be at your full retirement age, which for most of us, it's 67. You can see what it will be if you wait until age 70. We've paid into this our entire working lives, so we absolutely should know what our estimated monthly benefit is going to be. It shouldn't be a full retirement plan, but it's a key part of the puzzle. So I'll quickly summarize those 10 numbers that you need to know in your 50s. 1, your blood pressure. 2, your fasting blood glucose, or A1C. Number 3 is your LDL cholesterol and triglycerides. Number 4 is your net worth. Number 5 is your emergency fund balance. Number 6 is your total debt. Number 7, your monthly expenses. Number 8, your retirement age. Number 9, the total of your retirement accounts balance. Number 10, your Social Security estimated benefit. Now I've got 3 honorable mentions that I want to add to this list. They didn't make the core list, but they're still really powerful, and they're very easy to track if you wear a smartwatch or a ring. Number 1 is how many exercise minutes you're getting in daily and weekly. Walking, strength training, stretching, it all counts. Now most watches, they'll automatically track exercise as when your heart rate goes up. But I'll also manually track a workout if say I'm going to do some stretching for 15 minutes, something that might not get my heart rate up, but it's still regarded activity and fitness. It adds up your total minutes for the week. And another good number within this number is your average daily step count. I like to look at mine over the course of like 6 months and see if it's gone down, gone up, if there's a little correction I need to do in there, if I've gotten a little lazy. I know in the winter months, mine always goes down. Okay, the second honorable mention is resting heart rate. Now, the typical range is between 60 to 100 beats per minute, but being toward the lower end of that range is usually better for most people. I like keeping up with that because it gives me a look into my cardiovascular health, but most of all, it gives me a look at how I'm dealing with stress. I know that if my resting heart rate is elevated, that my deep sleep for that night will suck. So it's something I like to keep an eye on, and if it starts creeping up over the course of several days or a week, I know there are things I need to do in order to relax and de-stress. Now, in some instances, people will need to use fitness and exercise to lower their resting heart rate. It works differently for different people depending on your fitness level, your stress level. The third honorable mention is knowing how many hours of sleep you get each night. Our bodies need quality, deep sleep in order to recover and protect our brains. Now, based on the data that I get from my watch, I know that most nights I'm going to be awake 30 to 35 minutes throughout the night, either due to light sleep cycles or arousals, and I know I need to adjust my bedtime based on that if I want to get a full 8 hours. So how are you doing in regards to these numbers? I always say knowledge is power, and these are power numbers. If you have some work to do, you're definitely not alone, and you don't have to tackle them all at once. But the earlier in your 50s that you can know these 10 numbers, the more control over your future that you're going to have. If you're tracking your numbers, let me know in the comments which one of them surprised you the most in your 50s. And if you haven't already, I would love for you to subscribe to my channel. This Gen X Life, we look at midlife a little differently. And I would love for you to watch this video next regarding retirement for Gen Xers. It's changing. It looks a lot different than it used to be. I'll link that video right here. I hope you have a great week, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.